good? Yo, I feel like I'm off to the side. Need to adjust this just a little bit. You need to a bit. Is that too much? Or is that good? Yeah, it's a little weird. Oh, too much. Too much. I can't tell whether that's good or not. No, it's definitely off. Still off. It's a little. Does that work? Yeah, it's good enough. Good enough. Cool, something to listen to while I cook dinner. Entertain me. I'll do my best. Trans nutrition fitness. The commitment to the bit is crazy. Will heartbreak help you with the cut? It depends. Some people like to eat their feelings. So, let me bring this a little closer. Did I put WD-40 on it? I did not. I feel like I want to be a little closer. Yeah, it's fine. It's good enough. Do I live in Texas? I do live in Texas. The last live, he was not answer me. I mean, I think there's a pretty good reason for that. Yo, what's good? What's good? Do massage guns help for recovery? Yeah, probably not. Do you prefer walking on this than taking a walk outside? Not really. It's just I can talk to you guys better when I'm on here. What's up, Obi-Wan? Nothing. Nothing. Just chilling. 67 or 41? 67. Chest developing tips? Pick stable exercises that have the humerus doing this to this and this to this. You're going to be good. There's a guy from Toronto and Texas right now streaming on Kick abusing his... What? What? At what point would you suggest a diet break during a cut? If you kind of run into a wall in terms of mentality. Favorite tricep exercise at the moment? I feel like my favorite tricep exercises are always just going to be extensions. Hammer curls count as biceps volume? Yes. How many sets for muscle per week should I do? Well, start low and increase as necessary. Typically when somebody tells me they're trying to maximize growth for a muscle and they don't hit it for at least 5 sets though, I'm like, okay, feel like you're kind of missing the point. I love you too. Should I bulk as a teenager or not trying to get fat? Well, then don't get fat. Don't unnecessarily raise your calories. What would I do if I was not an influencer beside teacher? I would probably become a coach. So my goal with teaching was actually to become a full-time coach. Yeah, I was going to teach, but it was more so an inroad into being able to make money while I would coach high school teams. And then my goal was to eventually transition that into being my full-time job. Hello from Ethiopia. Hello from America. I'm in the handball team and only 3 times a week in the gym. Should I do full body 3 times a week? You can. Or you can quit handball. If you did powerlifting, what weight class would I compete in? I'm not sure, honestly. I'm pretty strong in the 190s, so I probably would do 190s. It's like whatever is close to like the, I don't know, maybe like 200-ish range. Yeah, I know you hate sports. Well, no, I just prefer real sports, not handball. My Tyrannosaurus Rex is good. Did you see Mundy say Hussein is probably natural? No, I don't follow Mundy as closely as you guys do. Do I watch MMA? Once in a while. Where should I fit shoulders in a PPL if I don't include shoulders with chest and tri? Well, why would you not include shoulders with chest and tri? When you're super lean and start a bulk, does high insulin sensitivity help muscle growth? Kind of. Pretty sure I know who you're getting that from, and it's not. Let's put it this way. If you come out of a show prep and you're 5% body fat, are you in a better state to build muscle there than you would be if you were 8% or 9% or 10%? No. You look smaller. Well, I mean, that does tend to happen when you have to fill in an entire screen. But I assure you, the muscle is still there. Handball underrated and overhated. No, overrated and underhated. Brandon Clark? What are you talking about? Not Brandon Clark. Fine, Unc, I quit tomorrow. Good. Was hockey too tough for me? Too expensive. My parents weren't putting out that money for me to play hockey. They blamed it on the fact that they didn't like hockey culture. I'm like, just say it was too expensive. Come on. Let's be realistic here. How's getting lean for Clark going? It's going well. How much you make per month? You'll never know. Opinion on beef liver? Solid. How is strength training connected with hypertrophy training? Well, it's pretty simple. I mean, muscle is what moves the skeleton. in order to train for strength, you have to move the skeleton. So they're going to be very tightly tied. How many pounds have you shed? I'm only like 4 or 5 pounds lighter than when I started. Do I own Echo? No, I do not. Same as a Canadian, hockey was too much money when there's a bunch of kids. Yep. Do I use a Ninja Creamy? I have not used a Ninja Creamy in a while. Is 6 to 10 sets for a muscle per week optimal? I mean, you can do pretty well on 6 to 10 sets, in my opinion. Optimal is always a moving target. Why don't you go with other brands such as Gymshark or Young LA, though? Nah, I don't like them. I like Echo. Echo has been amazing to me from the beginning. So Echo's been, like, I started with Echo super early. Like when I think they'd been around for like 2 months. So I started with Echo after about 2 months when they only had one product. And I just turned down everything else. And then I threw myself 100% into Echo. Then they started doing things like clothing and everything else. And I'm just exclusive with them. A lot of loyalty towards Echo. Why is hockey expensive? I don't know. Ask people who charge the money. Thoughts on microloading? It can be good, depending on how you use it. Hopefully the patent goes through so Bro's product doesn't get stolen by Jay Cutler. I mean, they've already stolen it. They're already using it. There's a couple of different companies that have started using my design. So once the patent goes through legally, there will be action taken if they use the patent without our permission. Sorry, if they use the design without our permission. For someone playing soccer 4 times a week and also working out 6 times a week, what split should I use? Honestly, just get a couple times frequency per muscle group and try not to destroy your legs. Would you say that during an aggressive mini cut, you need to completely cut out alcohol? Yes. I mean, you should just cut out alcohol in general. Let's be real. What's drinking really doing for you? Is there a difference between an externally rotated shoulder, internally rotated shoulder during a Keenan flap? Yeah. So if you externally rotate, you have an ability to probably get the chest out of it a little bit more. It's going to include the tricep maybe a little bit more. Personally, I prefer an externally rotated Keenan flap to an internally rotated one, but you do whatever you want. What size t-shirt do I wear? It depends on the shirt. Usually somewhere between large to double XL, depending on what overall look I'm going for. Which bicep exercises should I have in my session? Just pick some that you like and stick with it. Honestly, it's like people have way overcomplicated the biceps. I prefer elbow stable variants, and then you can do that in a preacher curl format. You can do it behind the back format. You can do it beside you format. It's up to you. What size shirt is this right now? I believe this is a large or a extra large. I'm not sure. That's a large shirt, looks medium. That, oh gosh. Oh gosh. That's yes. That should help you guys understand what we were talking about earlier in the live. What hobbies do I have? I don't. This is my hobby. All right, I'm just reading the arm blaster comment. That's fine. It's fine. Yes, I played high school sports. What's my opinion on peptides? Way of the future. And retatrutide is incredibly useful. Obviously, you can't take it as a natural athlete if you are competing in natural organizations, but like my enhanced athletes use retatrutide. What am I walking on? Treadmill. Favorite tricep movement for long head bias? Extensions. Are mechanical drop sets vaulted? So all that mechanical drop sets do is save time, right? It's like, it's neither, it's not bad to do mechanical drop sets. It's just if you have the ability to take additional rest before doing various components of the exercise that you're trying to do, you're probably going to get higher levels of motor unit recruitment than doing it in a fatigued state, which is essentially what a mechanical drop set is. Yeah, I'm gonna watch the Demon Slayer movie. I've recently had shoulder pain. What should I replace incline press with? Probably a fly. Love you. Keep it up. You inspire us all. I'm glad. Your walking sounds like the squishy boots from SpongeBob. Yeah, that's my Air Forces. They're annoying. They started squeaking and never stopped. Why is every fitness influencer from Canada? I don't know. What's the circumference of my gluteus maximus? Again, I don't know. Just bought your straps from the Netherlands? Nice. I didn't know we'd reached Holland. Air Forces are not good for walking. Okay. No, I'm not wearing my pink Crocs. Are hammer curls vaulted? No. They're still a good exercise. What's the difference between Echo Endure and cluster dextrin? I'm going to be completely honest with you. I haven't looked into Echo's intra because I don't use intra, so I haven't looked into it. But I thought they were using cluster dextrin. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think is the limit to how long a workout can be before it becomes suboptimal? It has nothing to do with the length of the workout. It has everything to do with the individual doing it and how they're going about it. Best way to load plates on a prime preacher curl? I don't know. Make it a little bit heavier in the bottom. I've not used a plate loaded prime before. Can you become affiliated with Echo from the UK? Good question. Obviously, they do a lot of stuff through TikTok Shop, so I don't know what Europe's deal is when it comes to TikTok Shop, but you probably would have to ask M or Tristan or Noah. Do hammer curls work the brachioradialis though? So I think people view elbow flexor training, they don't really understand what they're talking about. So they view it as, oh, you're training the bicep, or you're training the brachialis, or you're training the brachioradialis. It's more so a spectrum, right? So you have things that can slightly bias towards the biceps, you have things that can slightly bias towards the brachioradialis, and then obviously there's the argument about can you even do anything for the brachialis, to which I would argue, yes, you can, but you're still going to get pretty high levels of bicep and brachioradialis involvement. Unk knows a lot about the spectrum. Not wrong. You're not wrong. Upper chest looking fuller? Nah, it's just a tighter shirt. Calorie counting versus portion control for weight loss. So every time somebody suggests some sort of diet over calorie counting, I'm like, oh, okay, so reducing calories. No. It's about eating this food. I'm like, which causes you to what? No. I'm like, reduce calories. Reduce calories. Right? Yes, you can make smarter decisions while reducing calories, but guess what? You're still reducing calories. So when you do portion control, what are you doing? You're reducing overall caloric load. Dang, Jonesy looking huge. Appreciate that. I haven't been called Jonesy in a while. Do I trust the resting calories calculated by my fitness tracker? No. Just experiment. Eat a certain amount, weigh yourself, eat a certain amount, weigh yourself, and just collect the data on yourself over time. Any info on wrist flexor training for carryover into bouldering? Well, all you have to do at that point, it's very, very simple, is go over and start bouldering. And then figure out, okay, what position am I taking in order to do this? And then what you'll do is you'll figure out pretty darn quick what you could do as far as resistance training for that particular thing. It's this. It's almost all this. Do I run 5Ks or marathons? Ultra marathons, actually. Thoughts on Masters Olympia scorecards? Haven't seen them. When's the next unction? I'm not sure. What to ask for when doing blood work as a teenager? Depends on the purpose of your blood work. Track sodium. So I typically track sodium if I have a specific purpose for it. But outside of that, no, I don't track sodium. What old school exercises do you still do besides like SLDLs? I don't know. I guess it would depend on what you consider old school. You could just ask me about exercises, and I could say whether I do them or would do them. What are your thoughts on intuitive eating? Stupid. Stupid. So, okay. Intuitive eating has the most butt backwards name imaginable. Because intuitive eating is literally why we have an obesity crisis. Because what does intuitive mean? If you go look up the definition of intuitive, what does it actually mean? So when people say intuitive eating, they're saying something oxymoronic. Because it's literally the opposite. Whenever they explain what intuitive eating is, I'm like, oh, so you mean the opposite of intuition. Because you're literally changing the way you eat. That's the opposite of intuition. So, like, it's the dumbest name I've ever heard. Because as soon as you start changing the way that you eat, it's no longer intuitive. Thank you for all your long-form content streams. Really keeps me occupied while I've been trying to get tan outside. Well, I just made a video that is going to be over an hour long, so we'll see how people take it. Is it a good idea to give up benching for a while because of related joint discomfort? You should give up any movement if it's causing you issues, at least for a bit. Your favorite superhero in Marvel and DC, one each. Marvel would have been Thor, but honestly, they kind of wrecked the character. Or I should say, like, because like obviously I don't read the comics too much. I get into lore, but I haven't really read a ton of comics. So my favorite character for a while was Thor, but the most consistent character overall is Spider-Man. So I think I'll go with Spider-Man on that. As far as DC goes, DC is tougher. Because it's like Batman's just so common, but I still probably would have to say Batman. £140, 28% body fat. Should I aggressive cut? Just ask if you should cut. Whether it's aggressive or not is up to you. And yes, if you're 28% body fat, you should probably cut. I'm assuming that's a guy. If you're a girl and you're asking, then you should probably tell me you're a girl. Because the majority of my audience is male, so I typically answer as if it's a male. He said 18, not 28. Well, he clearly said 28, so go back and read. What do I like to watch on YouTube? Oh, just depends on the day. It mostly depends on what's going on in the general world. But probably the most consistent thing I'll watch is movie reviews, honestly. I'll watch recaps when it comes to bodybuilding shows and stuff like that as well. A lot of other stuff is just too long-winded for me. Thank you, TNF. Yes, a guy, 5'4". Already looking slimmer on the face. Yep. I don't know. I was trying to do this, but it's the opposite of the mirror. Gotta lock in for a little while. How do we know what questions not to ask? I don't know. Think about it. Should I skip the gym if I have a fever? I probably wouldn't go to the gym with a fever. I have not watched the DBS Broly movie. What do you do for your eyelashes? Genetics. How long does it take to build noticeable muscle? Meh, depends on the person. Have I seen Black Clover? I have. How many steps a day do you recommend? I don't. Just get the steps you can get. Is six exercises too much per session? I wouldn't say so. Blood really got banned from TikTok live stream for using the word race once. I didn't get banned. They just limited. So what they do is TikTok live, if the AI senses that you're talking about a particular topic, it restricts your live to an age amount, and it won't push it out to people. So then you have to exit out of TikTok live and come back in. What do I think about neuromechanical matching? I don't know how many times I have to give my opinion, but here's the thing, all right? There are some people who base all of their training on neuromechanical matching. They're like, this is the way muscles work, full stop, just base your stuff off of NMM. Then you have other people who are like, no, if you take a look at the physiology and take a look at these studies, they showed that actual motor unit recruitment didn't necessarily align with your ideas when it comes to neuromechanical matching. And I'm just sitting here like, bro, a bicep curl works the bicep. I'll be okay. But people can keep arguing. Do you enjoy YouTube or TikTok lives more? I wouldn't say either. They each have their own purpose. Can you make a mini cut or grocery haul vid? I'm going to be honest with you. I rarely buy groceries anymore. So I have 2 companies that provide me food. So I very rarely go grocery shopping at this point. My wife will buy stuff for herself if she wants to eat certain things. I might buy like some vegetables and fruit to go along with my regular meals, but I'm really not doing groceries often at all anymore. You're married? Yes, I'm married. These days, anyone can be a coach 1-to-1 just because blasting gear broke me, really. Ooh. Kind of a hard statement to read. I'm not exactly sure what you meant by that, but it sounds like a coach screwed you over because you thought they knew what they were doing, but they were just blasting gear. No matter what, kind of sucky. Do I like core power shakes? I like the taste of them. I don't get them very often. Are you 5'8" or 5'9"? Yes. Realistic thoughts on the future of AI, aka are we cooked? Yes, yes, chat, we are cooked. Can you recommend per month weight gain in bulking? As little as possible, while still building as much muscle as possible. I'm good. How are you doing? Favorite podcasts or YouTube channels for quality lifting info? Ooh. See, that's tough because I don't really watch lifting YouTube very much. So it's tough to say because I rarely watch it, ever. And then podcasts I rarely watch ever too. Because all podcasts can be clipped now. So if there's some podcast that I'm somewhat interested in, usually there's clips from that podcast that have been posted somewhere, so I can just watch individual clips, but I don't really watch podcasts. I don't even watch all my YouTube videos. I'm not going to lie to you. I make them, I send them to my editor, and then he sends them back and I post them. And once in a while I watch them. Is that a Switch 2 Joy-Con? I have no idea what that is. Yeah, Austin is the GOAT. He makes your videos awesome. No, he does a really good job. We've been really, really happy with him. Is the top half of SLDL better than full range of motion for hamstring hypertrophy? I mean, depends on what you mean by top half, right? Like so what happens I see a lot of times is when people try to cut the range of motion short on an SLDL, all they end up doing is just not taking the SLDL far enough down. They're like, oh, well, I'm trying to hit where it has best leverage. I'm like, yeah, and if you actually take a look at the angle between your hip, your leg, and your back, you're not even reaching the depth that you would need to try and do what you're trying to do for your hamstring. So in my opinion, just go through it. Just go through, have a standardized place that you touch the weights to and come back up. Why are SLDLs better than RDLs? They're not. They're just different exercises. Do androgen receptors play a role in building muscle? More plates, more dates says it's the sole thing that dictates how much muscle you can build. I'm confused about it. Well, it's not the sole thing. But, I mean, yes, androgen receptors definitely play a role. That's why we try to antagonize that pathway when taking performance enhancers. Very, very good for building muscle. But no, it is not the sole thing that dictates muscle growth. And also, if you're finding yourself worried about it, you're like, well, what about my androgen receptors? Just stop. Stop. Everybody has to worry about their genetics to whatever level they view as worth it. And for me, I'm like, guys, if you spend all your time thinking about your genetics and not just what you need to do in the gym, all you're going to do is hold yourself back. I'm type 1 fiber dominant. How do I overcome this? Lift heavy. Who would you go with if you were not with Echo anymore? Honestly, I don't know. See, at this point, I'm so far out of the companies in general game because I'm so tied with Echo that I have no clue who I would go to next if I was to leave Echo, because I have zero plans to leave Echo. Echo and TNF are it's like you can't separate it at this point. We are the Flash. So mostly focus on strength gain and bulking. I mean, progressive overload, but it depends on what your definition of strength is. What supplements should everyone take every day? So they're called supplements for a reason, right? Most supplements you can just get through food, so you don't really have to worry about it. But there's obviously going to be some things that are just easier to supplement, and that really just comes down to what your overall base diet looks like. So things that I supplement pretty regularly are potassium and magnesium, just because it's a lot easier to do that than think about, okay, I'm going to make sure I get this food, this food, this food, but you can definitely do it through food. Creatine is obviously, that's the easiest one to point at. That's like, okay, you're probably not going to get that from your food, not enough of it. Everything else past that point is just person dependent. Maybe vitamin D. Does progressive overload happen when maintaining calories? It can. I don't understand questions like that. Progressive overload can happen while you're cutting. Progressive overload can happen while you're bulking. Progressive overload can happen while you're maintaining. Progressive overload cannot happen in any of those circumstances. Do I do cardio daily? If you count this as cardio, then yes. Are pull-ups all you need for lats? It depends on how specific you want to get. But can you develop good lats with just pull-ups? Sure. Thoughts on microloading? It's good. I increase everything by 0.25 to 0.5 pounds per session, or is that too slow? Been like this for 6 months. Just keep going with it, man. You still progressing? Keep going with it. Don't overthink it. You're progressing, you're progressing. Is it possible to target mid-pecs? It's a good question. Based on, like I've been saying this for a long time, based on what we know of physiology, I'd be surprised if there wasn't some extent to which you might be able to have a slightly greater stimulus towards the mid-chest. Is it going to be noticeable in any regard? Probably not. But I'd be kind of surprised if you couldn't at least get some level of distal / proximal growth for the chest. But not something you need to worry about. Just do the exercises you need to do, and your chest is going to grow fine. Can I buy the manual for free? Well, you wouldn't be buying it then, would you? How to find out what your dominant muscle fiber type is? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Stop making excuses. Go to the gym. The longer into your lifting journey, the more you increase the volume to grow. I'm confused. So, all right. The easiest way to understand it is this. Take a look at top level sprinters, right? The best of the best when it comes to sprinters. If you take an elite level sprinter and you have him run the 100 meter dash as fast as he possibly can 10 times in the same day, and then you have him try to perform for the next like 4 or 5 days, yeah, good luck. Like he's going to be absolutely trashed. Now, if you do the same thing with somebody who's not an elite level sprinter, let's say somebody who just plays soccer, something like that. They've never really had any specific actual training towards sprinting. That person's like 14 years old. You have them do 10 sprints for 100 meters. They're going to be much closer to being able to perform at their maximum potential within the next 4 or 5 days than that elite sprinter. Basically, as a more advanced athlete, you risk more in terms of going to failure, taking things past failure, doing high levels of volume. There's more chance of messing up. If you can't intuitively eat with junk foods, can you intuitively eat with whole, healthy foods? That's not intuitive eating. Oh my gosh. Okay, do you know what intuition means? Intuition means you just do it, right? That's what intuition means. That's why I hate the term intuitive eating, because it creates this false perspective of what you're actually doing. Like, can you eat whole foods and be healthy? And like, as if you just focus on whole foods and you don't need anything else outside of it, and you probably don't need to like watch super, super closely what you're eating, and you won't become morbidly obese, most likely, in a lot of cases, yes, right? In a lot of cases, you're not going to become morbidly obese through just eating single ingredient whole foods for the rest of your life. But most people don't live like that. That's why understanding how things work is better. And then you can do it with whatever foods you need to in whatever circumstance you're in. Please repeat what you said about chest. I was slightly late. All I was saying was people were saying, can you actually target the mid-chest? And I said, you probably can to some extent, maybe slightly bias proximal or distal regions of the chest based on what we know of overall physiology. but is it going to make any practical difference to your training? I would bet no. Give me like 2 years, I'm going to get the Yami Sukahiro physique. Is that just Black Clover? Is that Yami from Black Clover? I don't know his last name. Favorite movie review channels? The ones I watch the most consistently are Sean Chandler, Jeremy Johns, and probably Critical Drinker. Those are the 3 that I watch the most consistently. Do I listen to music when I train? No. Do you think everyone can look insane when they just cut down to 10% after 2 years of consistent muscle? Insane? No. Can most people look good? Yeah. How did you increase bicep width? I stopped worrying about increasing bicep width and just got bigger. Increasing bicep width is a dumb thing to try to do. Just get bigger arms. For movie reviews, have you ever checked out Pointless Hub or Highboy? No, I have not. Does TNF actually come from the fact that you're secretly Thorfinn? Yes. So depending on what my hairstyle is, I've gotten Thorfinn, Thorkel, and Askeladd. It all just depends on what my hairstyle looks like. How do you get bigger arms without increasing my body fat percentage? Progressively overload your arm exercises. What kind of question is that? My goodness. It's 2:47 a.m. Go to bed, man. Go to bed. It's like the opposite of everything I practice for you to stay up and listen to this. Go for the middle part hairstyle. It will look good. Hey, maybe. Longest you've ever been on an aggressive cut? What side effects did you feel? Honestly, I don't know. Like, I try not to take them too long, but everybody has different definitions as to what an aggressive cut is. So I'm guessing there would be some people that would consider like longer duration cuts that I've done aggressive. I might not necessarily consider them aggressive. But as far as like being, let's say we're going with 1,500 calorie deficit, right? That's like a truly aggressive cut. At that point, we're probably looking at max 6 or 7 weeks. But that's a really hard cut. And not to be taken lightly. Oh, man. I can't imagine Monday dealing with these questions. Yeah. Do I train traps? Yes. Why do you not listen to music when you train? Just distracting for me. It takes me out of the gym. There's music playing usually on the radio, so just listen to whatever's on. How many years in the gym to be called an advanced lifter? Stop worrying about it. Honestly, people ask this question. I'm like, I know nothing about you. I know nothing about your training history. I know nothing about your actual ability in the gym, how smart you've been while you've been in the gym. I know nothing about that. So trying to base it just off of years is pointless. Are exertism curls better than Bayesian curls? Good question. In my opinion, yes. I just prefer elbow support in general. So if I had to choose between the two, I would choose the exertism curl. Defo millennial energy. I don't even know what millennial energy means. But I am a millennial, so that would make sense. What did I teach when I was a teacher? Chemistry, physics, and biology. Thoughts on shoulder extension for the triceps? Don't worry about it. So I would say this. If you are trying to do shoulder extension for your triceps specifically, I think you're trying a little too hard, right? Like if it happens as a byproduct, yeah, so be it. But if you're trying to do specifically shoulder extension to grow your triceps more, I think you're missing the meatiest of your training when it comes to triceps, and you're probably specializing even more than you need to. Just my personal opinion. What's on the whiteboard in the back? It's just an explanation as to thermodynamic maintenance. It's been up there forever. I haven't touched that board in months. Did you teach in Canada or the US? US. Would you be willing to make a more in-depth guide on a mini cut? I have a YouTube video on it. I have like a YouTube video explaining it. TNF is still a teacher. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. When you track your calories, the protein that you get from things like bread, do you count as protein? I mean, I don't really eat bread that much, so I don't really have to think about it. Drop some lore. You gotta be more specific. You gotta be more specific. I can answer questions, but just drop some lore is so broad. Do you eat canned bread? I do not eat canned bread. I do not. Are overhead tricep extensions worth having in my program? In my opinion, yes. How much should we value protein availability? I think most people worrying about it are probably over worrying. The majority of my protein comes from animal-based sources, so me worrying about it would be like next to pointless, if not pointless. Where did I teach? I taught in Michigan. How is strength more important than volume? That makes zero sense. What do you mean, how is strength more important than volume? Did I even make that statement? What do you mean by more important? I'll tell you this, if you go do 20 sets of a bicep curl with 2-pound weights, and I do 5 sets of bicep curls with a 30-pound weight, I'm probably going to get better growth than you. So, I just don't understand the question. How do you track and hit your macros? So I have an affiliation with MacroFactor. So I have MacroFactor on my phone if I'm trying to like get my macros set. But I am sponsored by MacroFactor, so take that with a grain of salt. There's plenty of other good apps too. Because if I say that and I don't say that, then people go, it's like, chill. Yes, I'm sponsored by MacroFactor. Yes, I use it. Doesn't mean you need to. Have I been to Mississauga? I have. What do you think of the info in the Mr. Beast weight loss video? I haven't seen it. That might actually be something that I could react to for YouTube, but I haven't seen it. Why'd you become a teacher? Passion or someone told you to? Passion. No, nobody told me to become a teacher. What did bro do in that random ass city? Mississauga? Mississauga's not that random. And I was playing soccer, so. Mississauga had some pretty good soccer teams. What's my current body fat percentage? I don't know. Under 15, not below 10. It's definitely not 10 either. I was just saying it's between those two numbers. And it's definitely not 10. Much closer to 15 than 10. Would a strength training program build more muscle versus hypertrophy one because it focuses on getting stronger? No. No. What does that mean? How's the strength program set up? How's the hypertrophy training program set up? Do either of those people have any idea what they're doing? Because I've seen some strength training programs that are better for hypertrophy than some hypertrophy training programs because neither party knew what they were doing when it came to their programming. So the strength training program accidentally was programming better for hypertrophy, and the hypertrophy training program was accidentally performing not even necessarily better for strength, but just not good for hypertrophy. So it depends on how stupid the people are that are writing the program. Hey, can you ban Roberto? Thank you. I had to call in a favor. It's making the executive call. Yep. Roberto just got nuked. He did. He did. Are you mad Greg hasn't made a natty or not on you? No. No. Slightly irritating, but I mean, Greg, for as much as people might think that Greg doesn't think about the things he does too deeply, Greg would be scared to make a natty or not on me. Greg would be scared to judge me as not natty. Because the amount of backlash he would get for that would not be worth it for him. Stream support admins. Yeah. No, he's not actually scared. There just wouldn't be any point for him to do it. So it's like, what's Greg gonna do? Make a video and be like, oh yeah, he's natural. Like, who wins in that circumstance? Or if he's like, yeah, he's not natural, he knows I'll come out with like 20 videos proving it. So it's like, at that point, nobody, like, there's no win in that circumstance. Should I not worry about how much weight I'm gaining per month in a building phase, as long as it's not too quick and I'm progressing adequately? Well, depends on your definition of too quick. I don't think people take natty or not videos too seriously. I mean, that's just not true. Like, there's a reason natty or not videos have been a staple for over a decade. People definitely take them seriously. Can you recommend alternative to vertical pulls? Non-vertical pulls? I don't know. Can you recommend an alternative to overhead pulls non. Really don't know what to tell you at that point. Do you train every set to failure or just the last one? So it's very rare that I won't train the last set to failure, or at the very least. So it's probably a better way to put it is I do take a lot of sets to what I think would be the last rep that I can complete. And then sometimes I hit failure. Like I would say I hit failure pretty regularly too, but it's not that common that I am like, oh, I can't stop this set until I hit failure. It's like I just will like push, and then if I'm gonna hit failure, I'll probably bail. I actually probably bail my reps more than I hit failure, to be honest. So let's say I'm doing a repetition, and what will happen is, let's say I'm doing a lateral raise, and like I'm getting to the point where it's like I might be able to, if I really ground it out, like get it all the way up to here, but it would take a really, really long time. I'm probably just more likely to bail that rep than I am to see if I can complete it. But it's like I'm towing the line with failure and non-failure on pretty much every single set. Lore about my soccer journey. Oh. Yeah, how deep do you guys want to go? Because we could be here a while if we went through the soccer journey. We could be here for a while. Which hand grip would you recommend for front delt on shoulder press? I mean, you can take either, but personally, I typically prefer to be more straight up and down. So like the inner one. How is strength more important than volume on a mini cut? What are you even asking? What are you even asking? Bro, if you continue to do 20 sets, but your strength is like 50% of what it was when you were building, or you can do 4 sets and do 95% of the weight that you did while you were building, what do you think is going to be better for muscle retention? Ugh. I've never heard about your time playing soccer. All right, let's see. Where should we start from? So I was 4 years. No, I'm just kidding. So I come from a family that's pretty. Let's just say that my family was very invested in soccer. So I played it all the way growing up. When I was about how old would I have been? 11. I think when I was 11 years old, my brother traveled over to England to trial with some professional teams over there. Didn't end up making the squads. He ended up coming back to Canada. He was supposed to head back there for like additional time spent. It was like a weird age. There was like some age things going on where they were trying to figure out how various age categories. I don't know. Long story short, he didn't end up playing over there. He went off to college, and I continued to develop as a soccer player. But from the time I was like 11, the plan was for me to 11? No, it was 11 or 12? 12, I think. The plan was for me to try and go professionally in soccer. So pretty much my life revolved around that. It was like pretty. When I look back on it, it was a little ridiculous at times. But everything I did was about, okay, how can we develop into a professional soccer player? I got to age 16, and then on the request of some people who were close to me, who had played professionally before, who were people who had been developing me at that time, they said, okay, well, he's not really going to continue to develop the way he needs to if he stays in Canada. They're like, we need to send him away. So I was like, they were like, okay. So they sent me down to Brazil. I spent some time in Brazil. The plan was to spend some time playing in Brazil before I left and tried to trial in professionally for a full professional contract. So I was between the ages of 16 to 17. So I turned 17 while I was in Brazil. And then the goal was for me to go trial in after that. 2 weeks before I left Brazil, I ended up tearing my groin. I didn't know at the time that it was a tear. I just thought it was a pull. I was like, okay, it's a pulled groin, no problem. Like I went to the physio people. They were like, oh yeah, it's just a pulled groin. Give it a couple weeks off and you'll be good to go. I tried to come back in a couple weeks. Wasn't good. They were like, oh, okay, well, just give it like a month and it'll be good. And then by this point, we were talking with the club that I was supposed to go out to. And smart move on their part. They said, well, hey, if he's hurt right now, we don't want him coming out here while hurt. It's like, so how about we just wait till he's healed up and then he can come do his trials and stuff like that. And here I was thinking it was going to be like a month-long process, and it ended up being multiple years. So I was like dealing with this for the next 2 years, and then it was like I had to make a decision as to whether I was going to keep pursuing a dream of professional soccer or go to college. So I just reached out to my brother's college. And I said, hey, like, can I go there? And they said, well, because they had offered me a spot back when I was younger. And I had said, no, I'm going to play professionally. They're like, okay, well, just let us know if you change your mind. So then I went down and I called them. They said, all right, well, just come down and let's make sure you can still play. So I went down there, trialed, played with the team for a day, just one day. And then they offered me the scholarship, and they didn't know that I couldn't walk for the next like 6 days, right? Like I was still hurt, but I knew I could play for one day. I was able to like grit my teeth enough to get through a day, but I was like basically crippled after that. So that happened in March of my last year, and then obviously fall season starts in September. Over the course of the summer, it ended up actually healing enough for me to go in and play. And so from that point, I just played out my college years. Finished up college, had discussions as to whether I would like continue to try to play professionally after the fact. And the more I looked at it, the more I was like, okay, so I could either go in to low-level professional clubs and try and build my way up over a very long period of time, or like hope. I was like, or I could stay here, leave soccer, settle down with my wife, do whatever else I needed to do. And I was like, I was kind of over it. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I was kind of over it at that point. And so it wasn't a passion of mine anymore. It wasn't something that I was that interested in doing. It would have just been because we'd been like trying to work towards it. So at that point I was like, you know what? I think I'm good. Cut it off. So, done. What position did I play? Bro just needed some BPC 157. Hey, if I'd known about BPC 157 at the time, maybe it would have changed everything, which would be bad because then I wouldn't be here. What position did I play? So I played a lot of different positions. So the team that I came into, I don't know if it was the way the coach recruited things or what, but we had 27 players overall on the team, and I think there were 9 or 10 guys who played central mid. And I was like, well, I'm a center mid, so I played center mid at the start. And then what happened was like we didn't have a super deep bench, but the people we did have that were really solid were center midfielders. So what would happen is somebody would get injured who played left back or right back or striker, like something else. And so then they would just move me into that position and move one of the other players into the center midfield. So long story short, our center midfield was like by far our strongest component. So I ended up, by the end of the career, I was playing left back. So it was like I basically was a center midfielder playing left back. TNF was quarterback. Yes, quarterback. Left-footed, I'm guessing? No, I was right. But that made it really nice because I would attack central and then score with my right foot. So it worked out beautifully. I was better at crossing with my left than I was with shooting with my left, so worked out all right. If you never got injured, do you think you would have gone pro? It doesn't matter, right? It's like, so I've always had a deep loathing for when people are like, yeah, if I hadn't got injured, I would have. I'm like, you don't know. Like, you don't know. So why bother? Why bother with the speculation? Just be like, huh, got injured, moved on. That's it. How's life now? You doing good? I'm doing great. No, life is awesome. No, I'm actually very happy. I'm incredibly blessed and happy for the way things turned out. How would you go about training the obliques? Well, all you have to do is take a look at the orientation of the obliques and work against that. So if you take a look at the rectus abdominis, right? The six-pack, straight up and down, which makes sense from here to here, right? That's the primary motion you do. Obliques, they run obliquely. Bet you didn't know that's why they're called no, you should have known that if you passed English. But anyways, they run like this. So if you're trying to train the obliques, then, right? The motion is going to be this. So if you have a way to train that, you can get some good obliques. When's next bodybuilding show? I probably won't compete till the end of next year, to be honest. Things just been feeling good. Things been going well. Loving life. Getting shredded sucks. Just chilling, man. Yeah. It's actually funny that you mentioned that, playing hockey and tearing your groin, because the most common thing that it kept getting referred to as far as me having the groin injury that I had, they would always refer me to, they'd be like, oh yeah, this is really common amongst people who are pretty powerful when they kick in soccer and goalies in hockey. I was like, oh, so we're in the same boat here. Watch, Unk's gonna answer. Answer what? Oh, minimum amount of body fat percentage that will start to harm teenage growth and development. It's not a set answer. It's not a set answer. Go compete in the IPF and total 2,000. Let me see. What would I have to do in order to total a 2,000? So we'd be looking at, holy crap, that's a lot. That's a lot. I'm just doing the math in my head. I could never get a 2,000 total. That'd be ridiculous. If I went out of my way to train for powerlifting, I think reasonably, if I dedicated the rest of my training career to powerlifting, I think it would be reasonable to get, let me think about it. I got to do the math on each one. So if I could get to 1,700 to 1,800 that would be like, assuming I stayed around 200 pounds, that would be like, that's the highest I could even see it getting close to. 1,500 is realistic. I honestly think it would be higher if you took in like, if like, we're talking about if I dedicated myself to it, not if I like did it as a hobby. Yeah, 18. That's why I said 1,700 to 1,800. Like 1,800 would be like, that would be, in my opinion, overestimating what I'd be capable of. Which lift would be your best? Probably deadlift. Deadlift seems to be the one that I connect with the best. So like, even when I wasn't training for deadlifts, for powerlifting style deadlifts at all, I was able to get to a 600-pound deadlift. So I think that's probably the one that I'm most suited for. Bench press would be next, and then squat would probably be last, honestly. $1,600 plus is elite for naturals. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying, okay, again, we are talking about, I'm 31, right? I'm saying if I was to spend the next decade training specifically for powerlifting, right? We're not talking, like, this is not me speculating on, yeah, if I trained powerlifting for 3 months, I could, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Ronaldo or Messi? Messi. I mean, come on. Unk was born in the 1900s. The fact that, like, you guys consider being born in the 1900s old at this point is insane. Insane. Horrific take. Wait, what's a horrific take? What? I don't feel like I said anything crazy. Or do you mean about being old? Born in 1996 and I'm young AF. I got bad news for you, man. I wouldn't call you young AF. You're not old, but I mean, we're getting up there, you know? Unk got dementia. You're not wrong. Older than Google. Sometimes it's crazy to me to think that a lot of you guys grew up with quality internet for your entire life. That's crazy to me. Like, understanding what I had to do to get quality internet. Like, it's just like, you guys are in a different spot. How much cardio are you doing on this cut? It depends how you define cardio. So I'm doing a decent amount of just walking, but I haven't gone out of my way to do like incline treadmill or anything like that. How many diet and zero sugar sodas on bodybuilding prep is bad? I'm gonna be completely honest. When I'm on prep, I do what I gotta do. Remember MySpace? So I grew up in a household that would not allow me to use MySpace, but I do remember MySpace. Aiming for how many steps? I don't. So whenever I'm cutting without if there's not a timeline in mind where I'm trying to get to a certain thing by a certain date, right? Like, it's like, I basically just get a lot of steps. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like I'm already dieting, so I'm not really too worried if it's 15,000 steps or 25,000 steps. I'm just stepping. Born in 1985, I used to read shampoo bottles on the toilet. Bro's from a different era. The guy who said horrible take, I think he meant the Messi versus Ronaldo. I mean, the quickest way to know if somebody knows ball is if they say Ronaldo, they don't know ball. Like, they can say Messi and still not know ball because, I mean, you should already know that. But if you say Ronaldo between the Ronaldo and Messi debate, you have automatically proven to me that your soccer knowledge is so limited, or your football knowledge, depending on who's watching this, that I'm probably not going to take your opinion on anything related to the sport seriously. Who has more Champions League? Wow. It's almost like that has to do with the quality of the team around you. No, whenever people try to make it about championships and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, so you don't understand ball. Because your knowledge is so limited on what actually makes a quality soccer player that you have to take a look at statistics that have been written out for you to understand, to even be able to make an argument. You can't actually examine on an individual level the player's ability. That's why you have to turn to things like that. That's pure cope? No, it's just accurate. I mean, if you want to explain, like, I mean, if you've been, I'm sorry. I'm talking with casuals. Go ahead. Believe Ronaldo. Believe Ronaldo has what Messi has, or better. No, if you want to talk longevity, then you can give it to Ronaldo. Outside of that, no, Messi's peak is better than Ronaldo's peak. Just don't call it soccer. So I'm speaking to a primarily American audience. It would be pretentious of me to call it football. If my audience is 80% American, I'm not going to call it football on the regular. You're talking to people who buy a car based on horsepower and don't even know how torque feels. Guys, I mean, I've already told you, like, if you say Ronaldo, you don't know ball, so it's going to be very hard to take you seriously on anything regarding this sport. Kaká, prime Kaká was something else. He was, people forget about him. They'll be talking about all these other people, and they just always forget about Kaká. Bro was lethal. Zlatan is one of my favorite players of all time. But I think if I had to go through, there are a lot of players that I really liked who are never in, I shouldn't say never, but they're less often in the debate for GOAT. But there are some players that I really enjoyed watching when they were at their peak. Like, if you take a look at R9, man, like, I used to watch his videos before every game, and that guy was just, when he was at his best, was just fun to watch. I never really got into Gareth Bale, I'm not gonna lie. I think he obviously was an incredible player, but Gareth Bale was never the one that I looked at and I was like, man, that's my guy. Iniesta, yeah, Iniesta was unfortunate to have so many good players around him that he often got overlooked. Who you'd play for if you had a chance? I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't know. Probably Man U. When I was younger, obviously. Like, I know Man U's not good anymore, but when I was younger, if I could have chosen any team, it would be Man U. Iniesta, niche as F. Iniesta is not niche. What anime superpower would you pick? I didn't know that anime had superpowers. Or I guess shouldn't say that. I guess I did. We can say Nen then. I'd be a specialist in Nen. Drogba. Dude, my computer game, my FIFA computer game that had Drogba, man, I was a scoring machine. I was a scoring machine. What category of Nen user? I already told you. Specialist. I have not watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Guys, I was just trying to get in a lot of steps, and you guys really helped me. You guys really helped me with that. Ozil is the most underrated player of all time. I mean, maybe I just grew up in a different era than you, but Ozil was pretty highly rated when I was watching. So Muller is, I would actually say that's probably more accurate. I think Muller is probably one of the most underrated players of all time. Ronaldo never got enough recognition. Which Ronaldo? R9? See, this is the thing. Like, I swear, like, maybe I'm just that much older than you guys, but Ronaldo was given a lot of credit. Well, at least when I was around. CR7? What? They people literally argue whether he's better than Messi. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? If people argue if you're better than Messi when you're not better than Messi, I'm pretty sure you're getting enough recognition. Ronaldo Nazario is underrated. I mean, he was pretty highly rated before. Maybe now, but I think it was like as Cristiano Ronaldo went further along, then he got left in the dust more just because their names overlap. All right, I got to get going, but if you guys need anything from me, oh, wow, what good timing. What good timing. Yeah, if you guys need anything from me, code TNF for most things. And what else? What else? Oh, yeah, my fat loss manual if you struggle to get lean and stay lean. But I got to get going. So, as always, love you guys. Appreciate you guys.